Let's build some YouTube ads to generate some leads and grow your email list. Timestamps below, along with some other helpful links and resources, including a link to our YouTube ads playbook to help set up and optimize your YouTube ads campaigns for leads. Now, as we dive in here, if you already have a Google Ads account set up, then go ahead and jump to this timestamp. Otherwise, head over to ads.google.com. Go ahead and click on sign up in the top right. You'll sign up with a Gmail address. You can always change this later, so don't freak out if you don't have your perfect Gmail address already set up or business email address set up. And then you'll get to a page that looks something like this. And you're going to want to look for a little tiny link somewhere around the page, most likely on the bottom. They're always changing things to switch to marketer mode or expert mode or whatever they're calling it this week. And so once you get to an interface that looks something like this, you are all set and good to go. Now, if you already have a Google Ads account, then of course from your campaigns dashboard, all you need to do is click that blue plus button, new campaign, and you'll get to the same place. So now that we're all in the same place, let's go ahead and talk about setting up your campaign. So if you've already run Google Ads traffic in the past, you have your conversions set up, you know what your CPA and your ROAS is, and you're like, I just need to do this for YouTube sometime, then you can actually go ahead and select leads because you have all your conversion tracking set up. You've already tested it on other platforms or other areas of Google or Google Display. And so you'll want to go through that because you have your tracking set up. If you're just getting started and you're like, I'm completely new to this whole marketing thing, or it's your first couple of YouTube ads, then go ahead and create a campaign without goals or guidance. And the main reason you want to do this is leads will restrict the type of bidding you have. So if you're not already really solid on your numbers, you're going to waste a lot of money. So we'll go ahead and click on create without goals or guidance. And of course, we will click video, custom video campaign, and then we'll go ahead and click on continue. We'll go ahead and give our campaign a name. I'm just going to name this demo and all caps turn off because I keep forgetting to turn these off after making these videos. So for our bidding strategy, it's going to be maximum cost per view. If you choose a different type of goal, then you'll have CPA or ROAS or maximize conversions. We won't get into that. That's a little more advanced. And so for our campaign budget, we're going to do daily. You're going to want to bid at least, or bid. We're not bidding yet. We're setting our budget at least $250 per day, if not 5 or 10. So you're probably going to have multiple campaigns. We'll get into this diagram in a moment. So back into our interface, I'll just leave it at 250. Our start and end dates, I'm going to just start it next week from recording, and then I'm going to select a end date about 2 weeks out. The reason I like doing that is number one, I forget to turn off campaigns all the time. And number two, Google's just not going to refund you if you forgot to turn it off. So this is a nice little security measure just in case you forget the campaign's running. Now, when it comes to networks, we only want to show up on YouTube itself. We don't want any of the other platforms YouTube's going to try and extract money from us to show our video ad. So we want this video on YouTube and no place else, unless you're watching this embedded on a site, in which case that pointing just made no sense. So anyway, for our locations, you're going to want to target your local area broken down by whatever sub breakdown there is. That was a terrible way to say it. So here's what I mean. If you are targeting a country, target all the states, territories, or provinces. If you are targeting a state, territory, or province, then go ahead and target all of the counties or whatever they call it in your particular country. And then from there, if you're a local area, you're like, I need people within 20 or 30 miles of me, then use neighborhoods and zip codes. You want to be very specific with your targeting here because this is going to help you with reporting and optimizing later. So in this particular instance, Google has saved us some time. They've already pulled in all 50 states. You can always copy and paste using advanced search, and you can add locations in bulk and then just paste in all of your zip codes, counties, provinces, states, whatever you are targeting. Do not use radius. Please don't use radius. It's great. It's really easy to set up. It's like, well, I'm here and I want everyone around me. But then when it comes to reporting, you're really not going to know who's working and what actual area around you is working because all your data is going to be in one line and it's not going to be very helpful. So we'll go and click on cancel here. Now, when it comes to languages, because I am targeting the US and the major language is English there, I don't really need to worry about the other languages. But if you are targeting a country like, let's say, Canada, then you'd probably want to specify which language that you want your ad to be showing up next to. And so for inventory type, I'm going to go ahead and click on expanded. A lot of people don't like doing this. I don't really care what my ideal customers or viewers are watching. They're choosing to watch that content. And so you might as well go where a lot of people are scared to go. And the advantage, you're going to get cheaper views because all the big advertisers are scared and they're clicking limited inventory. So this just means we get to show up on videos where other people aren't, which means our views and costs are going to be a lot less. So excluded content, if you can check games, go ahead and check that. Sometimes it's on, sometimes it's off. I even go ahead and uncheck this because I just want the cheapest views possible for the people that I want to target. So we'll go ahead and leave related videos alone for now. You do have some additional settings. Now, because we're going to do something called in-stream ads, we're going to click on this specific targeting and we're going to take off TV screens, mostly because if someone's watching on a TV screen, they're probably not in the right mindset to actually go to your website and log in. And that whole send to phone thing that some of the YouTube apps have just doesn't work very well. As an example, I use Apple TV and I have an Android device. So I could click send to phone all day and it's just not gonna work. So not to mention the different VPNs and whatnot. So then we have frequency capping. Go ahead and leave that alone for now because Google is just going to target the people they think are going to actually click on your ad. So let's not limit that for now. Ad schedule, only do this if your lead generation process has some sort of phone call in it, right? Like you need to be able to pick up the phone and go, hello. Well, you probably have it the right way, right? So unless you need to pick up the phone, go ahead and leave your ads running all the time. And of course, third-party measurement, that'll be for another day. So then we have this option, skip ad group creation. So if we jump over to our diagram here, at the very top, we've just completed setting up our actual campaign. So this is where we set the locations and the budgets and the inventory type. And so now what we're about to do is start setting up our ad group. So this is going to be where we tell Google and YouTube who we want our ads to be shown to. And then at the very bottom, of course, we have our actual ads. These are the videos that are actually going to run and interrupt other videos that someone's trying to watch and hopefully get them to your site instead of continuing to just mindlessly watch on YouTube. Not that you're doing that right now, because obviously this isn't 100% mindless. Comment below if you're like, wow, this is really boring. So let's go ahead and skip ad group creation, and we're going to go ahead and skip, and we'll just create our campaign. So once we do, we'll get a nice little summary here, and then we can go ahead and click on continue to campaign. And of course, nothing's actually going to run because there's nothing inside it. We just created this empty shell. So let's go ahead and fill it with some targeting. So you can go ahead and click on the blue plus button here, and then we'll go ahead and give our ad group a name. And I'm going to cheat a little bit because I know exactly what we're about to do. And then we can come down to all of these targeting options. Now, there are a lot here. And ideally, you would want to test every single one and every single combination to find that perfect one that gives you the best return on your ad spend. But let's be real, you probably don't have like 20 or 30 grand sitting around to just blow on YouTube ads over the next couple of weeks. So we're going to start by using something called custom intent audiences. These work incredibly well. Can you test all these other ones? Yes, but we're just gonna 80-20 the process here, and I don't wanna sit around an hour while I explain each one in detail, right? You probably don't either. So what we're going to do is come here to audience segments, and we'll go ahead and click on browse here. And then we can go ahead and click on custom segments. And so what you can see, I have a couple of examples here, and then we can go ahead and click on custom segment. Now, what we can do here is we can go ahead and use keywords. We can think of tools and resources, or we could think of influencers that are highly relevant to our ideal customer. And so as an example, if we were a Facebook ads agency, we would think of all the different keywords that someone would be looking up if they're trying to be more successful with their Facebook ads. Then we would go ahead the same process, as you can see, we'd think of what software and resources and tools are they actively using. And then, okay, in your particular niche or industry, who are the major influencers around this particular topic. So in general, we could get really specific with someone like Kurt Malley or Jason Horning, I always say his name wrong, sorry if you're watching. And then we could get really broad with something like Russell Brunson, who just talks about marketing everything, right? Because we're not quite sure which one is going to work very well. But what we can do, we can take all of these terms and then head over back to this tool and plug them in, and then Google's going to target our ads to people who are actively searching those keywords, or people who they have found through, their Google tracking, Big Brother tracking everything thing, figured out that these people are really interested in all of these different topics. Now, you don't want to put all of these into one custom intent audience. So you're going to have one custom intent audience for your keywords, one for your tools and resources, and then of course one for the influencers. So in this particular instance, I'm going to go ahead and do the tools. So I'll go ahead and paste them in here. Now, ideally you want about 30, right? This is way too small to actually go ahead and target, although it's saying that there's 500 million to a billion impressions somehow. So maybe one of these is big enough to warrant just having this small few. But ideally you'd have 15 to 30 tools in here, because you want to give Google a nice wide range to figure out where your ideal customers are. And so I'll just go ahead and name this segment Facebook Ad Tools Demo, so I know to delete it later and not accidentally use it. And in the future, you can actually expand these by adding particular URLs and places or apps that your ideal customers are using. I think it's best in the beginning to just start simple, use these keywords. We're talking about 500 million to a billion impressions per week here. So it's not like this audience is too small to learn from. And then we go ahead and click on save. And then what we would do is we'd click on custom segment again, do the same thing. And then this time we click on searched. And I should have called the other one intent, but there we go. We'll go and click on save here. Now, what's important is we actually don't want to put both of these in the same ad group. We're going to need to make a separate ad group for this other type of targeting. Why? Because long story short, the way Google reports what's going on inside your YouTube ads campaigns is still a little mucky. So if you have more than one targeting option in this column, you're not actually going to know for sure which one's performing the best. So we'll go ahead and we'll do terms this time. I think that's what I set up here. Yeah, Facebook terms. And that's all we need to do for this particular ad group. So we don't want to check this yet. So we'll come down here, our maximum bid. I'm going to set it to 20 cents here just because I want impressions. Top content bid adjustment. I normally leave this alone because I don't know what top content is yet, let alone which audience is worth trying to bid more for. And then we'll go ahead and skip ad creation. So we'll go ahead and click on skip here. We will save the ad group, and then we need to tell them what type of video ad we're going to be using. So we will be using in feed. These are the videos that pop up in front of other videos, and we'll go ahead and click on save format. And then we'll go ahead and click on ad group again. I'll go through this a lot faster. And this time when we come down to audience segments and click on browse, we'll come down to custom segments again. And then this time, if I can find it here, there we go. So last time we did Facebook tools, terms. So this time we're going to do Facebook tools, and this is intention. So we have one where we selected tools, the other where we selected intention. And then of course we can come down here, set our bid to the same, and then we'll go and skip ad creation and skip, save ad group. Yes, it's an in-feed ad, save format. So jumping back over to our diagram, we just created our ad groups. So what you can do is you can create some more ad groups going through this exact same process, except trying some keywords and then trying some influencer lists. And essentially for each one of these options, you're going to have two ad groups, one where it's terms and one where it's intentions. Why? Because none of us know which one is actually going to work. And after a couple of days or weeks, depending upon your budget, it's going to be really clear which audience, which ad group is actually working. And now that we have our two ad groups, it's time to create our ad. So we'll go ahead and select one of our ad groups here, and then we'll go and click on the blue plus button, and I'm just going to enter a random video. Now you see we're getting this warning, 3 minutes. Of course, you're going to want to have a video that's maximum 3 minutes or less. Ideally, it's going to be 90 seconds. So here is a simple formula you can use for your own YouTube ads. Link in the description to our YouTube ads playbook that goes through this in detail. Essentially, we need to hook our ideal viewer in the first 30 seconds and alienate everybody else. And here's a quick screenshot of what our editing software Camtasia looks like when we create these videos. Because that first 30 seconds is so important, you're gonna have multiple versions of that first 30 seconds, and then the rest of the video could just be the same. You'll be amazed at how quickly you'll find that one of your particular hooks or introductions does significantly better than others. So come up with, 3 to 5 different ways to start your video, and then the rest of the script can be the same. So here, all we need to do, of course, is drop in a URL of our landing page. Your display URL does need to be the same domain. So if you don't have a custom domain set up with whatever software you're using, highly recommend doing that. Otherwise, it'll say something like, ClickFunnels, Unbounce, or Instapage here, right? And then for our call to action, we don't have a lot of options when it comes here. Now, there is a dropdown, but you can also type in your own. So don't feel stuck with whatever dropdown they have. And then of course, your headline, normally this is just descriptive since you really don't have that much text or characters. And of course, you'd go ahead and give your ad a name. So we're just gonna call this demo number A, and that lets us know this is version A. And that's all there is to it, to setting up your ad. So you can see the different previews. It's going to show up. You only pay after 30 seconds. So that hook and that formula linked up in the description is really important. You're definitely going to want to spend some time figuring out how do you hook your ideal viewers or customers in and alienate everybody else. So you don't pay for people who aren't actually going to opt into your email list or actually become a lead. So we can go ahead and click on Save Ad here. And then once we do, we can copy it to our other ad group. So to do that, we'll go ahead and click on Select. We'll click on Edit. We will copy, and then we'll come back out to all of our ad groups here. We'll click on the ad group that we didn't create an ad in, and then you'll see that this paste icon has showed up. So we'll go ahead and click on Paste, and then we can click on Done. You can ignore this. This is something that you can do where you want to paste an ad across multiple other campaigns. It's really cool how they've finally allowed us to do that. But for now, we'll just go ahead and click on Paste. And just like that, our ad is created. So we can come back up to our campaign here, and you'll see we have an ad for each one of our ad groups. Again, you want at least 3. You can do 3 to 5. So Google has some things to rotate and test, and we'll come over to our ad groups. And with that, you are all set and good to go. So the next step, of course, is creating a couple more ad groups, trying out some keywords for your custom intent audiences and intention audiences, as well as trying out some influencer names. And you're just gonna see what works. That's a large part of just starting out with advertising is, hey, I think these are the audiences and I think this is what they want to hear and what they want, and then you figure out whether or not you were right. So go ahead and comment below with any of your YouTube ads questions. Grab a copy of that YouTube ads playbook that has our formulas and how to actually start optimizing your campaigns. Hit that like button, subscribe for more YouTube ad guides just like this one, and until the next, keep building the business you love.